Welcome back. Now, 6 months ago, my next guest weighed 21 stone. He put away a breakfast bap, a chicken mayo sandwich, fish and chips and a curry, and that was all before lunch. But that was the old Paddy Cunningham. Will you please welcome the new Paddy Cunningham? Well, Paddy, when you look at you...
I know, look at you.
Compared to that.
Brendan, you're a fine thing, do you know that?
Steady on now. I'm saving myself for Peach's Geldof.
I'm saving myself for you, it's all right.
OK, will you be waiting? So, listen, so you did The Biggest Loser. I know. The interesting thing you said was that a lot of the people on that show who had gradually put on weight as they grew up were people who were getting their life back. You said you were getting a life because you had you'd never not been fat, basically.
Yeah, that's right.
What kind of a kid were you? Like a fat kid?
Yeah, I was the little chubby baby, you know, the one that all the grannies come and go, oh, isn't he really cute?
But you see, everyone loves a chubby baby, but then you go on a few years and
you don't want to be
likes
a chubby baby anymore. No, you don't. The nappies don't fit in here as well. So, no, I was always a fat kid. Always. I was never into sports in school, anything like that. So, you know, when I was about 15, 16, right up until I was about 20, 21, I had 1 stone in weight for every year I was old. So, you know, that's not a nice situation to be in when you're a teenager.
No.
But that's the old Paddy, and that's something I'm very clear about in my mind, is that kind of, you know, that fat guy there, you know, that's in the past now, and it's a completely different person to I am now.
It's an interesting thing the way you go on about it. You do say, like, that's another person entirely.
Yeah, completely, because it's not just a physical change there, it's a mental change. And I think the mental change for me is possibly the most important thing. Yeah. And the most important thing to make sure I don't get back there.
OK. So you say you were a shy kind of a kid.
Yeah.
Were you shy because you were fat, or were you fat because you were shy? Or
I'd say it's probably a bit of both. I think there was probably, you know, a few things fed into it. You know, not being into sports in an all-boys school, you know, isn't the easiest thing.
As I well know it.
Yeah, and, you know, the tuck shop.
I mean, I do, actually. I'm feeling your pain on a lot of this stuff. I never got as fat as you did, to be honest. But no, I know it,
I could give you some tips if you want, but it's not good. There's a great tuck shop in Sligo. But yeah, I mean, you know, I wasn't into sports, so at lunchtime I wasn't off playing rugby or Gaelic or anything like that. I was in the tuck shop, and you know, I was happy there. And the food was gorgeous, you know, thanks. But it got me to that size, not skinny now, you know, I'm not blaming Sligo, but, you know, a multitude of things, like the bad habit started from a young age. And they just stayed with me, and I ended up like that before I knew it. And I kind of reached the point earlier on this year whereby I seen a picture of myself from a school reunion from last Christmas. Yeah. And I was thinking...
I think we have that picture, actually, somewhere there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a year ago, just over a year ago.
So that.
And like
that picture kind of tipped you over.
Yeah, totally. I mean, such a heifer, like, seriously, you know. I mean,
and we can say that now.
Yeah, I can now. I can, because that, you know, it's just the old me, and you know, I keep that picture on my phone and I look at it religiously every single day without fail. Yeah,
really,
totally.
just to remind you of what you don't want to get back to. And like the thing is, what I think, again, like, I do understand this to some extent. I think what a lot of people don't realise is that, like, so growing up, being a teenager, for example, being fat is a huge handicap, isn't it? Like, in terms of, you know, socialising and
totally. I mean,
boyfriends, girlfriends, all that.
Yeah, I mean, I used to get ready for a night out up until very recently, up until before the show started recording last year. Yeah. I get ready for a night out. You know, spend ages doing it, buy the new clothes, all that, and I do that final kind of, you know, glance in the mirror that, you know, I'm sure a lot of people do, probably more so the ladies, but you know, you do that glance in the mirror, and so many times I do that, and then be like, no, Paddy, you're too fat. You're too ugly, you can't do that. You know, you're not going out looking like this. Everyone else will look better than you.
And what, you wouldn't go out?
No, I wouldn't go out. I remember once, actually, I got to the bus stop and I was thinking about it the whole way to the bus stop. And I was just like, no, geez, you look awful, you can't go out. And I just went back again and I made up some lie, texted my friend and was like, sorry, I've lost my bank card or something. You know, because it's just too embarrassed.
So, like, it wasn't that people didn't like you because you were fat. You actually didn't even
like
give
myself.
them a chance. Like, you actually didn't like yourself.
No, couldn't stand what I was seeing in the mirror when I looked at it.
Jesus, that's a horrible...
It is. It's a horrible way to live in. But I said, that's the old Paddy.
Yeah. So just tell us, just to give us an idea of what was going on. What would the old Paddy eat in a day? Take us through a day.
A day could be anything from, like, bad habits. I might skip breakfast, which was never good.
Yeah.
And then when I'd get to work, I'd get a sandwich, a cup of tea, maybe a breakfast roll, something like that. And then before lunch again, maybe another sandwich. Lunch then would be whatever's going on.
You'd have a sandwich before lunch.
Oh, yeah.
The pre-lunch
God,
sandwiches.
That was like the warm-up, you know, stuff. There's more food coming, don't worry, like,
so
you know.
You'd have a starter, basically.
Yeah, I'd have the starter a few hours before lunch. Then we'd do the lunch. Then a few hours after, I would have the dessert.
So lunch would be,
Lunch would be whatever's on in the canteen that day, and whatever looked the nicest.
Right,
and the great thing was in work, you know, you could fill up the chips yourself. So, like, you try and hide a few things there so you get it a bit cheaper as well, you know, like, you know, a bit of meat so you wouldn't pay for it. But yeah, I just fill up whatever was there. Usually fried food. One of the favourites was battered sausages on a Friday, chip shop day. So yeah, I just scoffed them down. Not putting any thought into what I was eating. And it was an awful way to be, not putting any thought. But now, thankfully, because of what I've gone through on The Biggest Loser, it's completely almost reprogrammed me about the way that I think about food, about exercise, but more importantly, the way I think about myself, which is really nice.
Of course, that's the important bit. But now, you had tried diets and gyms and all that kind of stuff before you did the show, hadn't you? And it never worked for you.
It hadn't worked for me. I tried counting points, eating this kind of food on one day, another type of food, another day eating balloons, another day, whatever crazy diets they were going, I would try them. And they didn't work. And I think the reason why none of them kind of worked for me is that the mental bit wasn't there for me. The changes that I needed to make in my head weren't happening, because you're going to a meeting for half an hour, once a week, and there you go. And I needed more than that to get me through, and thankfully that's what I got.
And the gym?
The gym, I would go and I would, you know, run around on a treadmill for a wee while, looking like an elephant on an elastic band, and I think I was great. Whereas now, like, you know, I'll actually do a proper session in the gym. You know, I'll go and within 10 minutes I'll be sweating, type of thing, which is good.
Did you used to go to the gym? Did I hear that you used to go to the gym, and on the way home from the gym, you would have what? Tell them.
You're some fecker. When I joined up in the gym, when I lived back in England, I went down and I was thinking, oh, I'm brilliant. I'm going to join the gym, going to lose loads of weight. So I went down and I joined. I got dressed in the sports gear and all to go and join. And on the way back, there was a McDonald's drive-through. And I was like, sure, you know, it wouldn't hurt, would it? So on the way home from joining the gym, I went into the McDonald's. And
You see, what gets me about that is it was a drive-through. You wouldn't even get out of the car and bloody waddle into McDonald's, would you know? Just the drive-through will do fine. I'll take it in the window.
Way too much effort. Like, you know, the car is nice and warm, and, you know, you can sit there and dip till your heart's content.
And then you were living with the guy who was your teammate.
Will, my housemate,
Will. And, like, obviously both two big guys. So, like, were you helping each other out there? Or,
I think so,
kind of not
I mean,
helping each other out there, if you know what I mean?
Both. I think initially, definitely, you know, we kind of shared those bad habits. I met Will through work. And, you know, would be the Friday night, or we get a pizza, the Saturday night, Sunday, you know, the bad habits, both of us had them. So we used to kind of console ourselves with the bad habits, you know, by ordering more food or whatever the case might be. But then, thankfully, when it came to coming home after the show, he was such a rock for me there, like, to make sure that we stayed motivated.
Because just to explain to people that after the kind of show bit of the show was finished, you then had to, how long?
Yeah, we had 7 weeks recording, then we did 15 weeks at home.
Where you did it yourself?
Where we did it ourselves. And I think that was a real test for people to see who had taken on board what The Biggest Loser had kind of taught them.
Yeah, so like that was without all the supports as well, was it?
I mean, we had the production company would get in touch with us still and make sure that we're still okay, and if we needed anything, they'd be there. But yeah, that was us at home, doing our own eating, going to the gym when we wanted, all that type of thing.
Okay, so you're confident you have changed your life now?
100%.
Can I ask you about one change? And this is some... I'm genuinely curious about this myself, and I know a lot of guys will
Go for it.
Okay, in that, in the cutter, the big picture we have there, right? Like, there's moobs and there's moobs, if you don't mind me saying.
They
are full blown.
Oh, they are.
They're actually spherical. They nearly look like a fake boob job.
Do you know what?
Right?
I'd say my sister's bra was probably too small for me at that stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, then I hear from guys that when you lose the weight, that they don't necessarily go away on their own. Is that correct?
Do you know what?
I can say this because to be honest, I'm not badly endowed myself, so I can ask this.
I've seen that website, Brendan. I know. Do you know what? With the moves, it's a funny thing because that was probably the one part of my body that I hated the most and was most embarrassed about talking about. But it's part of who I was. They're still there to some extent, but they're definitely smaller than what they were. And it's just fat that you need to burn. So, I'm going to keep going till I get rid of, as much fat as I can. And just
so
stick it
out. You still are a little bit fat.
Yeah, still. Oh God, yeah. There's still body fat there that needs to go. I mean, I want to try and reduce the body fat that I have, and then probably build a bit more muscle, which I'll gain a little bit of weight back that way. But that's the kind of next phase for me now, is to strip a bit more fat, build a bit more muscle.
Okay, and tell me, the eating now. So that we heard your eating before,
yeah,
which sounded vaguely disgusting, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it was not.
Do you eat now? Do you enjoy your food now, though, or is it all kind of?
No, I do. I think that's one of the things that's really important to me. I was watching the interview with Ava from Operation Transformation, and she is some battle axe when it comes to food, whereas I'm very much like, regardless of what kind of diet or plan you're doing, you should have your treats because they're very important. To me, they were very important when I was at home trying to lose weight. Because if you don't have your treat, that's when I think you tend to maybe binge or do something like that. So for me now, a typical day might be, I might have my muesli or porridge or whatever in the morning. Then I'll have a snack during the morning, which might be fruit or yogurt or something like that. A proper lunch would be carbs, protein, and then dinner might be a bit more relaxed. If I want something nice, I'll have it. Okay. But the thing is, I'll burn it off then in the gym. So I don't think I'm going to beat myself up if I.
And would you have a few jars?
I would, yeah, I would. But again, it's with the mindset that I'm in control of it as opposed to the other way around. Yeah. So anything that I eat or drink now, that's my conscious decision to eat or drink as opposed to just going crazy and seeing what's in the fridge. And Camille, speaking of having a few jars and going out and all that kind of thing, so before you stay at home because you were too fat to go out. Yeah. I could get out the door, but I just didn't choose to. With a stick to change the channels. It wasn't a carrot and stick, it was Mars bar and stick. There's other chocolate bars available. But yeah. So did you go out more now? Oh yeah, I do. Yeah. Do you know, this year, I've gone out every single weekend, and that is such a huge change. That's a big thing for you. That is a big thing for me because mentally as well, it's that thing. Do you know what? I actually deserve to go. Now I haven't been drinking every weekend, don't worry, but there'll be nothing unusual if you've been drinking every weekend. I know, but people think limited drinking in this country. But yeah, no, I've kind of every weekend and had a fantastic time. And I know that the weight thing held you back from relationships as well before. Yeah, I think. Have you started dating a bit more since? There's been a few. Short-term ones, Okay. One-night stands? Brendan, my parents are watching this in Sligo. We know tomorrow's Mass Day, so... Okay, well, so, great. So you're back in the saddle anyway, clearly. Yeah. It mightn't be Brokeback Mountain, but, And, come here, I believe that you've moved home. Yes, I have. I've moved Paddy, are you daft? You've become a celebrity now. You've lost all this weight. You look great. Everyone knows. You're moving back to Sligo. Yeah, I moved back home from England this week after 5.5 years there. And it's funny, a lot of people are saying to me, what in God's name are you doing moving home? The country's in a state. And I'm very much in this mindset that, do you know what? Whatever's going on in the country, I can still try and make the best out of my life. And whatever's going on day to day, the most important thing to me at this moment in time is having my family with me. And I have that. So, do you know, anything after that is a bonus. And are you going to be able to get a job down in Sligo? I mean, at least you could do kind of other reality TV shows in the UK or whatever. Eke out a living there for I'm sure we'd come up with one. I'm a culture, get me out of here or something like that in a few years. But so have you a job in Sligo? No, I have a job. What I'm doing is in April, I'm moving up to Dublin just for 5 months to train to become a personal trainer. So I can't wait to do that. Well, poacher turned gamekeeper. Yeah, type of thing, yeah. So looking forward to it. Well, listen, Paddy, honestly, you're kind of inspirational because, to see a guy who was afraid to go out at night and to see you're clearly kind of in love with life, fairly confident and charming and all that kind of thing. So, great story. You know, the right things to say. Well done. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Paddy Cunningham.